You better say that now.
What's up today, Ronald Arsenal?
What's going on, bruh? Just
I
out here
mean, what?
working, man, trying to get back to the terminal and get off from
All
work.
right. So you trying to get back to the terminal, and I'm fighting this cold, but we're gonna let the show go on. What's the name of the show, Ronald Arsenal?
You better say that.
All right,
Better
all right, all
say
right.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
man. Today has been interesting. I'm still learning new duties at work, but it's all good. The thought that we had for today, what does it take to start over? What
What
does it
does it
take?
take to start over?
That's right. That's right. Now, the first thought that comes to my mind is love, you know. And when I say that, because when I think of starting over, I think that that's a catastrophic, extreme thing to do.
Hmm.
And so the first thing that I thought when I think catastrophic and extreme, I think pain. And when I thought about pain, I thought about that first love. Oh, what it took for me to start over after that first love did not do what I thought it would do. It took something out of me, but I'm gonna revisit that. What do you think about when we say starting over?
So it seems as though that you was talking about all things concerning relations, and but that did not come to my mind when you said what does it take to start over? What immediately came to my mind is what we're doing right now in the process of establishing our lives after serving lengthy prison stints. And so that's why when you said love, I was like, let me see how you going let me see how you gonna work that. And it became clear. But for me to when you say what does it take to start over? And again, I'm thinking along the lines of uh, reestablishing my life. The first thing that comes to mind is me recognizing, actually tearing down everything that I knew, tearing
Mm.
down everything that I thought I knew, you know, um, and that's what comes to my mind. But I want to hear more on what you, because you saying you're gonna revisit. You don't go there often, so let me catch you while you're in the zone, like the 2-3.
No, man. When I thought about starting over, just that phrase starting over. Over means I've done something before, and for whatever reason,
Uh
I'm
huh.
going to have to begin again. And I know that that
Okay.
takes a lot of effort. For me, and so what came to my mind immediately, bruh, when I lost that first love, ooh, I'm at school down at Texas Southern, and even though I'm doing my thing, and my thing was not the right thing, when I got back on campus after realizing to say that it's not gonna work, me flying to the Midwest and flying back to Houston, that's not gonna work. And I made up my mind, that's not gonna be it. And boy, was I hurt. And at the time, my roommate's
Mm.
mother, she was like, D, because my nickname, she was like, D, it's more fish in the sea. You need to get up and get over that. And I said, well, you know, I thought that was gonna be forever. And she said,
Uh
boy,
huh.
you better act like a man. I tell my baby all the time, it's more fish in the sea. That's her son, who was my roommate. And from
Mm-hmm.
that moment on, it was a few months later, and just like she told me, I found my second love. So starting over, it was painful, but it was a short process for me concerning love. What is your process? You know what? I see you laughing. I'm going to go a little bit further. It took me getting some encouragement from the outside.
Yeah.
It took me realizing that my thinking is fallible, even though I thought it was going to be forever.
Mm-hmm.
When I realized it wasn't, and primarily it was because of my immaturity, I was like, okay, I'm ready to move on because I was thinking at the time, was there something I could have done better? And the truth that I came up with
Mm-hmm.
was I
Mm-hmm.
really wasn't doing the necessary things for that relationship to last. And primarily when I said I wasn't
Mm.
doing the necessary things, I had me at the top. And although in my natural mind, I was thinking, man, I'm a gentleman. I know how to love. I know how to stay humble.
Mm-hmm. Well,
You
you
know,
s-
I'm
well, you
not
said
telling you
that
the
that
mistakes
that
that I
love.
made.
So how does love?
Huh?
Okay, how does love though? You say so. How does love work? That love in there. So what love had the song? What's love got to do with it? I used to preach the sermon under that title before. What's love got to do with it? So
What you mean? What
with
love got to
everything
do
that
with
you
it?
shared with us, what does love? Yeah, you say starting over. It takes love. So how? Okay, you
Because
you
I
you
had
lost the
more
first
love. What
love.
I thought.
You was cut.
What I okay. Where I thought I really loved her. If I truly loved her, I wouldn't have been
Uh huh.
behaving the way I was behaving. And so when I came to the realization that my definition of love was merely a selfish one that still put me first, put what I wanted first, and did not really consider it a priority what she wanted. Because an example would be a woman wants a faithful man. I wasn't a faithful man, but I thought I loved her because I'm
Uh huh.
opening up doors and I'm pulling out chairs and I'm doing the right things on Valentine's Day and I'm making these dates happen and the fair happen. But when I thought
Hmm.
about it, I really didn't love her with a love that was self-sacrificing. And so
Okay.
that was the beginning of my starting over, realizing first you thought you was doing all that. You wasn't doing all that. That was about you. That wasn't about you guys or you two or one another.
Hmm.
That was about you.
Hmm. Oh, okay. 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 And before we leave it, I got to let it ride like a cyclist. Uh, did you armed with the knowledge and the understanding that you received from that broken relationship, did you bring that into the next one? And when I say next one, I'm not talking about no jump off and something to do. I'm talking about with the one that would become your fiance.
I
Did you
brought
remix your approach? Were you a better boyfriend, a better partner going forward after that?
I was a far better boyfriend. I brought all that knowledge into that next relationship, but but I
Hmm.
still fell short in a major area, that area of faithfulness.
Uh-huh.
You know, as many of us do without excuse. So I still had a lot of selfishness. Needless to say, that was the end of that one. When we get to that story another day, but we're gonna come up out of my starting over in the love way. Yeah, let's move back to this. What's one of the things that has enabled you to start over well after being incarcerated for over a decade?
Uh yeah, I'm gonna need you to give me all my time though. Yeah. I was incarcerated 24 years. Yeah, as I say, a Kobe Bryant on a Steph Curry. Yeah, that's 24 on 30. Uh, what?
You want both decades, huh?
Yeah, all that anguish and heartache and tears and growth. I'm not gonna paint it. I'm not gonna color it all bad because there were some beautiful things that came from it. But yeah, let's acknowledge all of it. Some things that helped me to start over. Well, it's kind of like we said in the last episode. In a lot of areas, I'm coming from a mostly uh, empty canvas. You know, Prior to my incarceration, I had one job, Well, I had a job at McDonald's when I was a teenager. Well, I was a teenager period, but I had a job at McDonald's when I was younger, and then I had a construction job for a company called Brown and Root, and I had that job like real close to before I end up offending, before I end up catching my case.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I'm saying that to say that when you say doing over, I like how you establish that to do something over, making it over means that it once was, but now you're making it over. So in a lot of regards, my right now is my first time,
Mm.
but in many others, starting over. So you say starting over, you're talking about a reconnection with my family. I have a small family. It's just my I say it's just, but it's predominantly my mother and my now deceased brother. It's been the three of us uh, for as long as I can remember. My father would show flashes of being in and out of my life. Uh, our relationship is much stronger now. But when you say starting over, so I had to, because I currently live with my mother, um, that reconnecting because I had changed and she had changed. So the relationship that we had prior to my incarceration, that was moot. That was gone. That was gone. I'm an adult now. I'm a working adult. And the person said, well, break that down. Help me understand. Well, prior to my incarceration, yeah, I'm non-working and I'm the child, and what you saying, I got to do that and come in at this time and all this. See, I'm no curfew now, you know. But upon first getting out, I was on a monitor given to me by the great state of Texas, so that kept me bottled in. But I have noticed that now, since I am free to go and come as I please on the legal side, I noticed that it's challenging for her. At least it was in the beginning. It was challenging for her to see me just come and go because she always sees me as her baby. And so to starting over, so we had to learn each other. I had to learn how my mother is now in her senior age. She's learning how I am because I'm forever changed. You don't go to prison for that length of time or for any length of time in that matter and not be changed. And the person who feel like that they aren't changed, that's testament to how they really are changed, but uh that's inevitable. And so
Mm-hmm.
we had to, you know, relearn each other, starting over. Had to learn how to uh file a W-2. Just the things that are basic and common to some folk, but were new to me.
Okay. Okay. Starting over. Let's speak about starting over concerning the dating realm. You've been out a few years and I've been out a few months. And so give me some insight on what starting over dating was like for you.
Dating,
Dating.
okay. Again, I
Unless of course you're doing some courting.
yeah,
Dating is going out and having some fun. Courting is we going out with the idea of marriage is at the end of this line. So if I had the wrong terminology for you, dating or courting, you correct me.
okay. 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 Well, I done had a little bit of both. I done had a double up. Yeah. And but again, both of them are brand new for me because it's not a start over because I had not previously done that. Prior to going away, it was it wasn't any dating or courting. I was a teenager, didn't know anything, and once again, as I established in the first episode, uh, I wasn't Wilt Chamberlain, and for those that don't know, that's a reference to this man's claim to have slept with over 200,000 women, or whatever the number is. It's gigantic, So I wasn't extremely active sexually, and as a result of that, I also wasn't going on dates. I didn't You know, so this when I came out is when I went on my first date, and and when I began to court someone, because I was in a relationship where I was courting a young lady, my tater tot, and that has since dissolved. But I do believe that we have a future together. But nevertheless, so this is actually my first experience. It's not a start over. This is I'm in my first experience with doing that. Now, if you want to
Okay.
know something about that, what I can say about that is, again, not being able to reference it to anything else. Women, I have learned, will say one thing. They'll say one thing, and they may have all intents and purposes of living up under that. But
Uh-huh.
anytime you go to mixing great times, good times, intimacies, you go to mixing that, they can easily abort the plan that they originally started with. They're gonna do that.
Okay.
I don't care what they tell you. Yeah, they're gonna 86 that, bro.
I mean,
I have learned that.
I need a little more. I mean, I'm at a loss for words right now. I don't really know where you're going, so I'm at a loss for words.
In this culture, sad as it is to say, this is the culture that we're living in. When you're transparent with someone and you say, hey, look, I'm looking for this and this and this. This is what I have to offer right now. And I feel like it's only right that I'm transparent with you to let you know going in what I'm equipped to do. That way, once I present you with that, you can make a quality decision for you, because just because this is where I am in life, you may not necessarily be there. But I don't want to come in deceiving you or allowing you to believe it's something else when it's not, you know. And so they'll say, oh, okay, well, I appreciate your honesty and your transparency. And yeah, I just came from a bad breakup and stuff. And so we're pretty much in the same place. I agree to that. You know, let's do that like that. You know, whatever that may entail. And you start out with that, but then when you go to the movie and they are unaccustomed, you talk about opening doors. They are, I'm gonna do that. They are unaccustomed, say it again, as it is to say, they're unaccustomed to their date opening the door for them. Well, I do that. The basics, some of the most basic things, when you have been treated with subpar actions, whenever what is normal comes into the equation, it can appear to be grandeur, you know. And so I'm doing normal and basic stuff, but it's overwhelming to them.
Okay.
And so now what happens is the clock start going, well, not a clock, but the thoughts start going off in their mind like, oh, so if this is what being with him is like, I want this.
Mm-hmm.
People gravitate to what's good to them and what's good for them. I want this. And slowly but surely, they start abandoning the agreement. The agreement that we had a treaty. We had a treaty. And now you start to tamper with the conditions of the treaty, you know. And then if some intimacies are exchanged, oh my goodness, it so is out the window. Whatever kind of treaties and understanding that you have, oh, that so is out the window. And what we as men, now ultimately, let me say this. I'm joking and jiving, but ultimately, let me say this. Everything I'm saying is the truth as I've experienced it. But let me say this. Let me be clear when I say this. We were not designed as humans to have casual sex. We were not designed to have sex with multiple people. And according to the Holy Script, we both should refrain from sex until we marry. And that's a whole nother thing, you know. And the reason why that can be so paramount. And the reason why I talk about mind altering drug, the reason why her state, and in some cases the guy's state, can be changed and altered, and things that we said that we were not going to do, when those things arise, those feelings arise, hey man, we need to really take into consideration that we as men, we are inside of them. We are literally inside of them. And when I'm talking about those of us that have been incarcerated, you are changed. I don't care what you say. You are forever changed because you were inside of the institution. That's changing. That's life changing. And so when you are inside of a person, how dare we think that they ought to be nonchalant or to be callous in their feelings and stuff when they were designed to only be with one person anyway, just as we were, you know. And so when you go to changing with that, when you go to dealing with that and intermingling and doing, man, nobody said no treaty, man, you done stirred up something inside of me, you know. But that's you know, but we that's you know. So the question was, you know, how has my starting over in the dating scene when actually this is my first round, and that's just one of the things that I've learned about women, that they don't do well with being casual or leisurely about dating. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some out there that can be just as savage as men. I've seen that as well. But they, from where I'm standing, they're in the minority.
Okay.
But I want to ask you this. Talking about starting over. I remember I used to ask you this when we used to talk on the unit. I say, Jakes, because you know you got a spiel for the opposite sex. You know, and I used to ask you, now, Jakes, you have not dated as a saved man. You remember I used to ask you that? You have not dated as a saved man. I used to say, how do you think you're going to be when you get out, you know, as a saved man, because you fear God and you want to move how God's telling you to move. And you currently doing that. Tip my hat to you for that, because you currently doing that. I was trying to get you to understand, say, bro, you do realize that the last time you was in society and you was dealing with the opposite sex, the parameters that you were playing within, you know, you had some physical things going for you, some material things going for you, and a whole bunch of sin. So now, when we're talking about starting over, how do you view dating, and what does dating look like for you now?
Well, dating looks completely different because I came out with a mindset that I'm really not interested in dating. I want to court, meaning in my mind, the way things were going to work out, God's going to show it to me. That's going to be the one. We're going to get to know each other through conversations and some leisure activities, and bam, we're married. We're off to starting a family. Well, it has not worked out like that, because at the present time, God has just not moved me in that direction. Meaning there have been, there have been from the natural eye opportunities, but starting over, seeing as I have, you know, hit reset, God hit reset on my life, I have not, as I would say in time, like I did in times past, seized the moment. You know, I have not seized the moment. And I don't feel like I'm missing out on something, but I am patiently, expectantly waiting on when I feel compelled by the Lord. It's like I used to tell you, you know, if God gives me something to share with anybody, period, I'm going to share it. But what has happened to me in my relationship with God, it seems as if nonsense is just really excluded from my conversation. And so what has happened is every conversation is not going to be serious. Every conversation is not going to be about the Bible. And so God seems to be giving me ample space and opportunity to relearn who I am as a man as that relates to the opposite sex. And so when I say relearn, meaning the way that I look at them, the way that I think about them, the way that I listen to them,
Mm-hmm.
the sacrifices I'm willing to make, the things I'm not willing to do, the things I am willing to do. It seems like since my release, God has given me plenty of space and opportunity to not only ponder these changes, but live them out,
Mm-hmm.
not only on my knees and in my Bible, but also through conversations with friends such as yourself and other individuals. And so starting over for me as far as dating has entailed a whole lot of get ready, get ready, get ready, but not
Okay.
go, go, go. So that's where I'm at.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Starting starting over. Your home life is unlike anything that you've ever experienced before, as well.
Definitely.
Um, Unlike me, you've had your own residences. You know, you attended college and stuff and this, that, and other. So you've been on your own and this, that, and other. Um, the difference in your home life now, that's a complete start over for you, because not to just dwell, but we cannot ignore the elephant in the room. We were incarcerated for a very long period of time.
Yes.
And throughout that time, we were in a cell with another guy. And so now that you are released, I have been released, we are free, starting over like that. Like, what is it like, the family that you share residence with now? What How has that been for you? Because when you get a new cellmate, you got to learn him. Man, does my cellie does he have to have the music playing for in order for him to go to sleep? I don't like music playing for me to go to sleep. That's gonna keep me up because my mind gonna be keeping up with the beat. You know. Then he leave after 2 weeks. Then you get another cellie, and so starting over with this family, with your new family. How has that been for you? That transition.
Starting over with my new family has been seamless.
Okay.
Meaning, if you would have asked me what that looks like in detail, I would not have been able to articulate exactly what I've experienced.
Okay.
Number one, I know all the credit and praise goes to God.
Hmm.
And what that looks like in detail is there has still, to this point, and it's been over 9 months, not been a getting to know period. And that's how we knew it was God. I
Wow.
was telling my friend's wife, I said, this is just not normal to have
Exactly.
this seamless of a transition. And she said, oh, I know, it's God. And
Hmm.
I didn't even have the words just to agree with her. The truth was just so shocking. And so that has been seamless. But the benefits of being able to see a godly marriage
Yes.
and
Yes.
children raised in
Yes.
the admonition of God. And not only that, two young children,
Hmm.
4 and 2, because my plans and my words. The Lord has told me from my seed, from the loins, King James Version, meaning I will have children. I will have children. And so it has been a blessing to be able to see what it takes for young children to be raised. The getting up when they get up. I don't know why it never occurred to me, but it just never occurred to me that when you have kids, little bitty kids, when they get up, you have to get up. That just didn't
Hmm.
occur to me. Another thing that did not occur to me is, man, you have to pay attention to little kids.
Hmm.
Literally, they can actually, unless they're taking a nap, want your attention every minute to 2 minutes until they go to sleep.
Wow.
And so that has been eye awakening. I still want my seed and I'm expecting it,
Mhm.
but I'm also better prepared for what I'm gonna have to give, what it's like as a man working and coming home, and the kids want to spend time with you. And
Mhm.
it's not based upon your watch. It's not based upon what you've done all day. It's based upon I want to spend time with my daddy. And so that has
Mhm.
been a blessing. And so starting over as far as living, you know, physical
Mhm.
accommodations, I just have to get a credit to God. It's been a blessing. And I'm soon looking
Amen.
move out on my own and currently looking for another place. And the thought occurred to me a week and a half ago when I was driving home from church that I'm going to have to do some changes as far as my personality with that because I love to help people. And
Mhm.
I realized that if I don't set some strong parameters, then I'm going to have a lot of people asking to come over. I'm going to have a lot of people wanting to
Yes, sir.
company. And not because I'm so great, but
Mhm.
just because I'm available. And so I've already began to pray and
Mhm.
think about that so that I know I can set up some parameters for that that are not only first, hey, I'm still available, but also I need not be running 24/7.
Mhm.
So for me, that's what starting over as far as a residential part consists of.
In the
What about you?
church, when I came home, you and I, we while we while we were incarcerated, we had very prominent roles in the church. You serving as uh, whatever kind of be considered your vocation, even though we didn't get paid, but in the state of Texas, state prison, uh, you could say your vocation was the chaplain's clerk for a long period of time, and then you went up top in one building, and you know uh, uh, that job as far as with the staff, with the warden and all of them, that the
Right?
caretaker of their shoes and this, that, and other. We saying caretaker of shoes, but shoe shine guy and whatever else that was needed in that capacity. And in the church, you served as inmate pastor as well as a coordinator of the church services. So very prominent role, and I had the privilege and opportunity to serve as the minister of music. When I came home, talking about starting over, when I came home out here in there, because I came home before you, in there, it's, oh yeah, that's Brother PA. That's PA,
Mm-hmm.
that's one, he lead the
Mm-hmm.
choir. Blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Came home, who are you? I mean, we don't know you. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that like I was expecting some kind of fanfare or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not, but we talking about starting over.
Right.
For many years, we were allowed to be used by God to be pillars in the church. And so to get out and to start over, what has that been like for you? Because we know you, like I said in the first episode, man, that's Jake's, man. That's Jake. Them people, they just, oh, okay, that's the guy that he saw recently coming. And if there were introductions that were made and a little background on you and this, that, and other. But for the most part, they don't know you in the fullness of who you are in Christ. So starting over in the church, what has that been like for you? Has it been relaxing to not have all the duties and everything that came with your responsibilities? Have you been able to let me not point you in a corner, but what has that been, that aspect of starting over? What has that been in the church?
It's been a blessing in the sense of being fed, walking through the door and not having to concern myself with the schedules or who was doing this or what's going on with
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
or how long is it going to take before we get the people into the church. It's been a
Mm-hmm.
blessing. And I was laughing last week because we have a good pastor, and we talked.
Mm-hmm.
and we've had a sit down and talk, and I get advice from him, and they are like, hey, are you going to be here for this? You're going to be here for that? I said, due to parole, I'm not able to commit or make prior engagements without receiving proper documentation from the authorities.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2 weeks in advance. And so one part of my involvement has been very slow because I cannot commit because I don't know if I'm going to be there. I'm there every Sunday. But the other part that I'm laughing
Mm-hmm.
at, there's some different things that I've had different conversations just with some people at the church that it's been good for me because, just like you said, it's like, okay, you're a dude sitting right here on the pew with me. And I like that because then that gives me an opportunity not only to be an attentive listener to them, but also try to meet some needs just right there on the pew with them. And that's been a blessing praying with people. But this last Sunday, they had baptisms for the first time. So I walked in, I
Okay.
try to get there as early as I can. And what had happened, there was a leak and it was leaking. And I
Mm.
saw a lady come in with her husband and they looking and the water is coming. And so I go to the back and I said, excuse me, sir. I said, the baptism was leaking. And he was like, yeah, I know we spill. I said, no, sir. No, sir. It is leaking, meaning it's all the way out in front of the
Yeah.
street. So he went and he said, oh my goodness. And so then the man who does what you do, he is the praise and worship leader. Oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? I said, say if you give me a mop or something, I'll clean that up for you because I know you have duties
Right.
to carry out. So he's running around looking for a mop. He does not know where a mop is because he is, that's not what he does. So when he
Uh-huh.
finds a mop, I began to mop. And another gentleman came up and he said, hey, let me help you. And as I mopped, he squeezed. And
Mm-hmm.
we got enough of it before service because they broadcast the service. He said, man, we'll finish up after church. So after church, I went, right after church, and I got the mop. I saw where he put it up at and began to do it again. And he began to do it again. And he says, man, I appreciate you. I said, man, I appreciate the opportunity. So another man came up and he says, hey, would you like me to relieve you?
Uh-huh.
First natural inclination was to say, no, I got it. But then I thought, and this was my thought, it was a blessing to be able to serve in the household of God, even though it was mopping up some water.
Yeah.
So why would
That's
I
good.
take away I said, yes, as a matter of fact, and I can go do something else. And that has been one of the most rewarding serving experiences that I've had up to this point in church, helping to clean up
Mm-hmm.
the water. Because as I was telling the praise and worship leader, I said, I understand baptism is not only serious, but baptism also involves a lot of logistics. And so someone has to fill it up, someone has to empty it, someone has to
Yes.
clean it. And we don't need electrical wires and speakers getting,
Right.
we don't need distractions. And so I fully understand. And so it was a blessing to be able to help you. And so that's what I would share on starting over. And so I wasn't a doorkeeper in the household of the Lord, but I was a mopper in
Mm-hmm.
the baptism. So I was happy about that.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, yeah. I wish I had a nice fuzzy story like that to share. Uh, but that's not my reality. I
What's
uh
your reality before we go?
I came out and just long story short, something that this lady said this here to me, man, and knocked me all the way loose. I wasn't ready for no parts of this here. I was in the male chorus rehearsal at my church, and there were several intangibles that couldn't be accounted for. It was some loose ends that couldn't really be accounted for, and God is my witness. God is my witness. I offered myself. I said, hey, if there's a lack concerning this right here or whatever, I know some songs that you could teach the guy. I didn't say I could teach. I know some songs that you could teach us that are easy and can be very impactful, and they are generated for men. They designed for men to sing,
Uh-huh.
design. This lady said to me, and it did not help, being honest, it did not help that I already had a preconceived notion, I'm gonna call it that, or discernment, that she liked the lights.
Okay.
glitz and the glamour,
Mm-hmm.
So when she said to me, I offered to help. This was my version of mopping. I offered to help her with this right here, because I know men. I am a man. I know men, what we can learn, and this, that, and other, how fast we can learn and stuff like that. Because I just left from dealing with some men. And this lady told me, say, let the people who get paid worry about that. Say, say, she said it so flippantly, like you peasant, be gone. Let the people who get paid, let them worry about. But the thing about it, Jakes, is that what she's saying, I'm in it. It involves me, and I just got out. So if you go to the archives with a song or two, I'm not gonna know them because I haven't been here with you guys. It was just like how with the Bad News Bears. If I bust out with a song, and Chris Stratton and Similac and all them like that, they'll be able to know it. Some of them, but some of the guys who just come on the unit in the last 8 months to a year, they gonna, you see what I'm saying? And they would be able to catch in. But when she hit me with that, let the people who get paid, let them wear the, say, man, I ain't gonna lie. I laughed. I got my truck and I went home. I laughed, but it also caused me to say, this lady hit me with this, and she's not even that good. Matter of fact, she's really not good at all. And you had the audacity, man, y'all out here in this world, so it was just, yeah, it was that. It was that, like, but it's all good.
Well, I know your trip is coming to an end, and I'm on to my next activity of the day. And so this episode 2 has been so real. Would you like to close with a hot track?
Oh man, I just want to encourage everybody to do what is best for them and their families in the midst of this pandemic. Continue to let wisdom be your guide. You see something, say something, because that's what we gonna do, man. You hear the gospel over here, all truth, good news. You better say that. Yeah, we're gonna say that unabashedly. We're gonna say that unabashedly, man.
Good day, man.
All right, you too, man. Me, I ain't gonna lie. But trying to think of what else, man. Man, Didi wrote me and said, now to his credit, he didn't say the Lord told him, but he came as close to it. It might as
PA, hold up. You out of there. Hold up. Hold up. Say. What's up? No, I can't. I'm not hearing you. I'm not hearing you. Uh-oh, hold on. Something happened. Just hold up. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Where you at?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, hurry up because I gotta make a phone call. Didi said what?
All right. To prayerfully consider being a praise and worship leader at a church he gonna pastor somewhere in Louisiana. I say, man.
Say, I'm gonna holler at you, man.
All right, man. I'm gone. I'm finna badge out.
I'll pray for you.